Wow. Okay.
All right, Lawlers, welcome back to another Best and Worst Champions for Week 6, Patch 14.3 League of Legends. Our top champion to play this week for free wins is Aurelion Sol. This guy is super busted right now, almost a 53% win rate across 130,000 matches. Just really, really strong right now. If you've played him, keep playing him. If you haven't played him, you got to try him. You're going to run Arcane Comet as the rune here, as your major poking damaging rune in lane, and you're going to rush into the Rylai's Crystal Scepter. This is his best rush item right now with the ability power, the health, and then the damaging ability slowing enemies for 30% for 1 second on the passive. Just works really, really well with his kit, with his W, his Q, and flying around in your R. Everything synergizes really, really well for him right now. Tough matchups, there's not a bunch. There's only 3 champions that are light red for him: Nefiri, Kiana, and Yone. These are all kind of divey, bursty, AD style assassin champions in a way. So if you have a preference to ban one of these 3 and you really hate one of them, that's your ban for this week. The rest of the matchups are pretty much at worst a coin flip 50-50, and you should be able to win them if you have a little bit of experience on Aurelion Sol. Aurelion Sol scales really, really well too, so all these matchups you can see here that are your next kind of 50-50 coin flip matchups, not a lot of them really scale that hard as the game keeps going. Some of them spike in the mid game and then they'll start to tail off, so you should be overall stronger than anybody else in your matchups that you're going to play mid lane. And then skill priority with Aurelion, you're going to still max out that Q, followed by your E and W last. Just make sure you try and get as much Stardust as you can throughout the game. And then starting items, you're going to run that Doran's Ring, but like we talked about, Rylai's Crystal Scepter as your rush item, and then Sork Boots, and then follow that up with Liandry's Torment. Your kind of 4th, 5th, 6th item options are kind of up to you, more game dependent. Really kind of consider if you need to pick up a Zhonya's Hourglass, if you're getting dove on a lot, or you're against an AD champion mid lane. But Shadow Flame, I think, is a really good 4th item pickup there for the 120 ability power, and then of course Rabadon's Death Cap with 140 ability power. It's going to just scale you into a huge AP beast. Okay, Brand, our second best champion that you can play for free wins this week, is still in the top 3. He's again above a 52% win rate across a bunch of matches, so still very strong. The key call out here that people are using to win more games with him is the Flash and the Ghost Summoner spells. So Ghost is going to give you a little bit of extra slipperiness and kiteability kind of in early game skirmishes if you need to get to a fight or avoid some damage in 2v2 scenarios with your jungler, or even in late game scenarios if you want to pop that and make sure that you can stay a little bit safer if you don't have big time peel on your team. Still running the sorcery rune set for him, followed up that with magical footwear and cosmic insight for some summoner spell haste and item haste. Worst matchups still Nefiri, and then some other kind of bursty champions that want to land combos that deal half your health in one go. So Vel'Koz, Kiana, Kassadin, Gragas, and Aurelia are kind of your more tougher matchups. You won't see a lot of these people mid lane. I don't think, at least I don't in my game. So Nefiri is probably your best ban here, and then after that there's a few champions again similar to some of the other ones in this toughest matchup list that are going to look to burst you out, like Fizz or Lux if they can land their burst combos on you. Aurelion is better than you just because he's better than you right now in this week, so you're just going to have to concede that. Skill priority for Brand is going to be that W max E and then Q last, and if you can land your combos of EQW in lane to really burst people out, that's great too, but you can also poke people really well with just your E and deal a good amount of damage. And then starting items, Doran's Ring, Pots is pretty standard, and then Liandry's Torment's going to be your rush item, followed by the Sork Boots, and then Rylai's third, so slightly different than Aurelion Sol. 4th item options, again you can see similar items here with the Zhonya's, the Shadow Flame, and the Rabadon's Death Cap. So Experiment is going to be a little bit more team comp reliant at the game state that you're going to be in, but as long as you rush these 3 core items, you still should have a very, very good performance with Brand. Okay, and rounding out our top 3 this week is ANVIA, so another kind of AP mage that's going to scale up as the game goes and spikes really hard when she gets some items in level 6. 52.45% win rate again across a bunch of matches. These are actually surprising to me. I don't play a lot of ANVIA, so if you're a ANVIA main, maybe you can tell me in the comments why this is working so well, but Domination Tree with Electrocute is her best rune page right now, so I guess if you catch someone in your ultimate, they're going to take some damage from Electrocute as well, or if you can combo them off pre-level 6 with an auto and then an EQ combo, maybe you can chunk people out with that. And then same thing with the summoner spells. Flash and Ignite are her top summoner spells right now, so if I was playing ANVIA as an intermediate, maybe ANVIA player, I'd probably take Teleport for a little bit better tempo in the early game, and be able to go for key item spikes and come back without missing minion waves. But if you guys are confident with her, then Ignite's the play right now, it looks like. Tough matchup. She's got some of those tougher meta matchups right now. Aurelion Sol obviously still beats her out, and then Gragas and Etheria are her next two toughest matchups, but they're not crazy, right? They're like at worst a 47% win rate against them. The rest of them are all going to be coin flip matchups at worst, so pretty good meta for her right now. Skill priority is going to be maxing out the E first, Q second, and W third, so no surprises there, I don't think. And then core items, she's a little bit tankier than the other two champions on this list so far with Rod of Ages Rush, so you get some of that health in there, and then the Sork shoes, and then following up with that Archangel's Staff for a little bit more tankability once that item transforms to Seraph's Embrace. Okay, and now our worst three champions this week to avoid playing at all costs, to make sure you don't lose games and lose that LP. Corki's going to be our first champion to touch on here. Just really not in a good spot right now. They nerfed, I think, his kit and some of the items that he relied on, so really poor win rate right now. There's somebody that's played Crit Corki and made it work with 3 matches at 100% win rate, so if you're that person, amazing, congrats, but it's not working for everyone else on the recommended builds right now. Got a lot of tough matchups that just beat him out with damage and burstiness earlier in the lane phase, I think, and then can skirmish probably a little bit better with the jungler than Corki, who needs a lot of time to scale up before he gets one shot, so just not somebody that's strong right now in the current meta. Okay, and then we've got Smolder as our second worst champion here, so still people can't figure out how to play Smolder in that mid lane position. They've been trying a bunch of different builds here, from Fleet Footwork with Trinity Force to Crit with Fleet Footwork and Essence Reaver to on hit with Essence Reaver and Comet, and then AP with Comet and Lichbane. Nothing's working right now for AP Smolder mid. People haven't been able to figure her out still, or maybe she's just still too weak, but about a 46% win rate combined across everything. A lot of tough matchups that just burst her out and probably scale harder than her, or have earlier starting points in the game. You can see here the core items of Ironing Boots of Lucidity Rush, and then Trinity Force and Spear of Shojin, which are the most popular ones. At best give a 51% win rate, so just something to avoid here, that overall there's way better mids that you can play. Alright, and then last but not least, we've got our favorite worst 3 champion here so far in these videos is Ezreal mid. Dude is at a very bad win rate of 43%, so very tough on him. The worst mid laner that you can play. Yeah, not a very good spot for Ezreal. I'm a little bit surprised by this. I don't know how much of this is just people not being great at skill shotting maybe at some of the ranks that we're looking at here, but this is Platinum Plus across the world, so I think there's still enough reason to believe that he's just in a pretty weak state here. And Ezreal always struggles with items and build paths to know what's strong and what's best for him, but still right now there's nothing that's emerging as being like secretly OP, so this is a pretty standard Essence Reaver, Ironing Boots, Lucidity, and then that stacking of the Man Immune to get you in a place where your Qs can deal some good damage, but you can stay pretty safe. There's an AP build here that's got 81 matches, but still 42% win rate, so nothing really working for Ezreal this patch.